I am Brian.
I am Julius.
This is the Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the political positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word article and then gets interviewed.
The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed.
Although some debate will undoubtedly occur, this is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore the individual and the American experience as a whole.
All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are solely the ownership of the one who expressed them. The Ascendant Project does not hold or endorse any views or opinions. Birthright by Julius Knapp III. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. That is the name of the executive order directing that the executive branch shall not issue documents recognizing United States citizenship or accept documents issued by state, local, or other governments or authorities purporting to recognize United States citizenship to persons when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, or when that person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary, and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. The legal issues associated with this case are significant. I am not a lawyer, and I have not ever taken a course in public policy or civics outside of the Maryland state-mandated coursework, so I will not pretend to completely understand, let alone adequately explain, the complexities of those issues. Nonetheless, the importance of this case is so significant that it demands that we try. Other than the Trump v. United States case, also known as the Presidential Immunity case, or the Citizens United v. Federal Election Commission case, I cannot recall a more impactful case. This case could profoundly affect both how the people engage in politics and how the people understand the role of the legal system. And of course, there have been other impactful cases. I certainly do not want to suggest that those other cases are not also important. However, this case may completely reframe the relationship between Americans and the legal and political systems, making it impossibly difficult for justice to be served as it was. At its core, the Birthright citizenship case is about two things. First is whether the executive branch can unilaterally determine the citizenship status of people born in this country. Public debate of whether the children born in the United States to non-citizen parents should be considered citizens themselves has circulated for many years, if not decades or centuries. My most recent recollection of when this issue was most prevalent in the public discourse was in the mid to late aughts. Then, President Bush had introduced a bill into Congress that would address the long-standing deficiencies of our immigration system. The bill ultimately failed, but two aspects of the bill, anchor babies and maternity tourism, were especially relevant to the idea of birthright citizenship. Considering those aspects, the 14th Amendment seems prone to abuse. Again, I will not discuss the particulars of those aspects. I present them only as examples of the types of issues the executive order is trying to address. And here we begin to understand how problematic this is. Executive orders are not laws. They merely dictate the executive branch to execute the law by adopting some policy. The effect may be the same, but there is an important distinction. Executive orders may be modified or terminated at any time by the president. So, assuming the executive order stands, birthright citizenship may be permitted or ignored on the whims of one person at any time. The implications of this are extensive and raise many new questions. If the children born in this country to non-citizen parents are not American citizens, what country are they a citizen of? If they are not citizens of any country, are they subject to our laws? This is what is meant by the phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof in the 14th Amendment, that for a child born in this country to be subject to our laws, they must be a citizen at birth. What of the children of infidelity, where any American man is claimed as the father and used to establish birthright citizenship, but it is later discovered that a non-citizen man was the father? Would those children's citizenship be revoked? Moreover, would this eventually establish a paternity tourism industry? What if a future president rescinds or modifies the executive order? Will non-citizen children who were born in this country during a previous administration be granted citizenship? The uncertainty introduced by these questions and many other reasons is what led so many states to sue. Those states obtained an injunction, effective nationwide, preventing the executive branch from executing the president's executive order. This introduces the second thing the birthright citizenship case is about: whether judges can issue national injunctions. Nearly every current Supreme Court justice has criticized the ability of individual judges to issue national injunctions. Indeed, it does appear to be literal judicial overreach. That is, a district court judge who can only hear cases brought before the court in their district can almost literally reach into every other judicial district and impose an injunction that every other judge would be obligated to uphold. For such an issue of birthright citizenship with the potential to impact every district, perhaps this should be permissible. The Supreme Court may, however, decide to limit this power. One option would be to limit the effect of injunctions to only the district or circuit where the case is brought. Under this scheme, a party obtaining an injunction in one district might still appeal to the Court of Appeals in that circuit, where they could broaden the scope of their injunction. Of course, this would also significantly slow the ability of disparate individuals to obtain national injunctive relief. It could also prevent judge shopping, that is, the practice of selecting a judicial district that may be sympathetic to the party suing. Another option would be to limit injunctions to only the party or class bringing the suit. This would have far-reaching effects on the ability of the American public to obtain relief from an oppressive government. It would require every affected person to either join a class or bring their own suit. For birthright citizenship, the number of cases may be in the hundreds of thousands, creating a logjam in the courts that could stall the court system to the point of being completely ineffective. And for those believing this option to be the best for birthright citizenship, consider the case presented by Justice Sotomayor. That is, if a future president issues an executive order requiring all guns to be seized and destroyed, should it really be the case that each individual person or class would have to bring their own suit to seek relief? Indeed, the issues surrounding the birthright citizenship case are far-reaching and varied. It is unclear from the oral arguments how the 9 justices may rule. If recent precedents are any indicator, they may choose a kind of middle ground, although longtime readers will recall the middle ground fallacy. This seems to have been the stance the court took in the presidential immunity case. In that case, it was ruled that the president had presumptive immunity for official acts. With the benefit of hindsight and additional legal opinion, this is a distinction without a difference. That is, the president is effectively immune from prosecution. Full stop. Whatever the Supreme Court decides in this case, a middle ground may be possible, but it is imperative that they not effectively neuter the American public and the judicial system in the process.
All right, Julius. Mute that. There we go.
Yep. I've already heard enough of myself.
So, before I dive into your episode.
Oh boy. All right, nobody can see this, but Brian has pulled out a large manila envelope.
Yes.
I'm very
envelope.
concerned.
And I wanted to give you something.
Okay. Oh boy.
Which I think you will absolutely 100%, without a doubt.
Is it a tax bill?
No.
No.
No. This is for your laptop. I bought one for myself too.
Oh, okay. All right. I always like a good laptop sticker. Pierre Delecto sticker. This is excellent. This is fantastic. Did you make this?
No, I got it off Amazon.
Oh my god. This is
I googled Pierre Delecto.
This is precious.
Since this seems to be a running joke in this podcast,
yeah.
even though I don't necessarily always remember his name.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Pierre Delecto was the fake Twitter account or the lurker Twitter account of Mitt Romney.
Yep. And let me just try to describe this. So it's probably what, like a 2x4 inch sticker, fairly large for a sticker. But it has a picture of Mitt Romney in the middle with the French beret and a
mustache,
distinctly French mustache, and it says Pierre Delect. This is perfect. Yeah, I will cherish this always. That's definitely going on my laptop.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I figured I'd start off with that. All right, so. My friend, you actually wrote about a pretty heavy subject.
Mm-hmm.
One that dovetails.
Here we go again.
God damn it.
Here we go with the dovetails. Dovetails.
Dovetail. God damn it. I cuss so much over grammar in this show, I swear. All right. Doves. Tail.
I really feel like it's dovetails.
Doves tails? The doves.
I really think we probably lost all the grammar Nazis. 3 episodes
yeah.
ago.
I mean, they're either that or they're laughing at us, like how stupid we are. Yeah, these people think they are so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the as a noun, the plural is dovetails.
Okay.
As a verb, the singular present tense is dovetails. So I think it's dovetails. I don't think I see any real instance of dove's tail.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I think it's when I'm saying dove's tail, it's probably possessive, and I'm using it like a plural.
Yes.
So my grammar is drunk.
Yep.
My grammar is drunk. All right. Or Dirk. My grammar is Dirk.
Dirk.
That's spelling, not grammar. Anyway, so you actually wrote a pretty heavy article. One that dovetails. With something I was beginning to write. So
really?
Some of my questions, I was starting to write it last night. And now I'm not, because I'm going to be bringing up probably most of my questions, I think, actually come from what I was beginning to write last night.
Yeah. Okay.
And I really did not figure out, like, I had, like, once again, it was like another abandoned article of mine where I had, like, the meat, but I didn't have the intro or the end or or anything, or the heart.
I have a few of those.
Yeah. And like heart is like so important in this, because I mean, as much as people talk about, how politics needs to be rational and feelings don't matter, and people really do vote with their emotions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the economy stupid. Well, that's a little bit of anger there. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm being affected. And if you don't think there's not an emotional part in that, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
Everybody votes with their emotions as much as they do with their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So emotions are important. And the people who think it's not are most likely not that self-aware about how their emotions actually affect them. So anyway, no offense.
Yeah.
But
None taken.
No offense to the listener. But nonetheless, birthright. So this is probably a loaded question. It's the simplest question. It's a loaded subject. It's a loaded subject.
Yeah.
And it's probably the question we're going to come back to.
Yeah.
Again and again in this. How does this affect you personally?
Ooh. So my relatives are immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
They married into the family. Love them dearly. Have known them almost my entire life now. Father to my cousins, both of, 3 of whom are fantastic people. But it doesn't, I'm thinking of like one person in particular right now, but whose name I'm going to just keep to myself. But it doesn't really just end there. So
Pookie Longbottom.
It is. Damn it. How did you guess it? Pookie Longbottom?
Pookie Longbottom.
My distant uncle? How do you come up with these names off the top of your head?
Okay,
this is what I really want to know.
So Pookie was the name of my first dog. He was a little toy poodle. It was named after Garfield's teddy bear. I was in
Right.
middle school, so get over it.
Right.
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
was like in 6th grade, so
And the long bottom?
I don't know.
That was
That's just the spur of the
inspiration
moment
in the
name.
moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Maybe I looked
I've
in the
never
mirror.
been like good at that. So I'm always impressed with how well you just like off the cuff.
I going back to middle school humor, I always like the whole trivial, what's your porn name
Right.
type thing, where it's like the street you grew up on
And the last thing you ate or
and the
something.
last thing something
weird,
stupid. I'm basically a
right.
Sniglets
Yeah.
porn name, but so like it was like middle name and then street you grew up on. So J Treeview,
Right.
Oh crap! I shouldn't have said that because now people know my security questions. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, your bank account is being hacked right now.
Exactly, 100%. Yep.
All your Bitcoin is gone.
All my Bitcoin is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, but getting back to it, so the question was, how does it affect you personally?
Yeah. So, I mean, outside of that, I guess I don't necessarily feel a strong personal relationship to the issue of birthright citizenship outside of, my family members.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my cousins, who I also loved, they were born here. There was probably a time, had they been born even just a few years earlier, there may have been a time when they wouldn't have been considered citizens by this executive order. And that's just kind of crazy to think about,
So one thing I've noticed, I went to this is a little bit of an aside.
Mm-hmm.
I went to whitehouse.gov.
Okay, not .com.
Not .com.
Good.
I mean, I know we're talking about porn and crap.
Right.
I've never been to that site, but I've heard things.
Yeah.
Not
Not that you'll admit.
that. Well, I am blind in one eye. Which I am blind in one eye.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they have 7 pages worth of executive orders on there. I counted them up. Only about half of the executive orders are there.
Really?
Yeah, I think they only listed like 70 some. He's issued over like 150 at this point. And by the way, today's date is May 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So I found another site that was archiving them because I was like, because the jump on the website's like from January 21st to like mid-March, if I remember right. I'm like, where are all the executive orders from February? There are none listed on the White House website now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're being struck down, they remove them, or if one executive order supersedes the other.
Right.
If they're taking the old one down.
Yeah.
So it might not necessarily be nefarious.
Sure.
But if you want to really like learn stuff and learn how things evolve and all that, you can't go there.
Yeah.
Because you don't see the earlier ones and the ones that are missing. So I just kind of wanted to bring that part up with about the executive orders. You had mentioned you had done Maryland state issued coursework. Are you talking about high school or are you talking about
high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
wondering as a contractor if you've had to do
well, I mean,
other stuff.
I've had to do some trainings, but I wouldn't really call it like civics training or anything like that.
Yeah.
Public training on like public policy. Yep.
That is a huge difference with that air conditioning off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I would.
Not that you guys will hear it anyway, because I'm going to delete out that background noise. But nonetheless, wow, there's so many different directions I want to go with this. It's
a pretty packed issue. There's the issue of, not just birthright citizenship, right? There's the issue of executive orders and whether they have or can have the force of law, whether. There's judicial overreach, in the injunctions. Yeah, there's so much, and that's why
there's so much.
Yeah,
and I was like dealing with all this stuff, and I started off with a big beautiful bill where they stuck in a provision in there.
Yeah,
to where trying to restrict the judicial branch on holding administration officials in contempt. And I think that stayed in the House bill. I don't know if the Senate's going to take it out. I don't know if it got taken out of the House bill because I saw it was in the House bill like the day before it was passed, but it was passed in the middle of the night. So I have no idea if it stayed in there or not.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% fully informed on it, but I know they had stuck it in there at one point. You throw that in combination with the Supreme Court decision on executive immunity. If you can't hold administration officials in contempt of court and the president is immune, and the other thing I had brought up was they voice voted no taxes on tips. Well, one of the things they're trying to do is make it so public officials can accept tips. If you don't have to report your tips and you're allowing public officials to take tips, that's bribery under the table 100%.
Well,
in the name of helping the lower class.
Yeah, I mean,
this just reeks of corruption. Reeks of it.
Yeah. So
so many different directions to go with this.
Yeah. So I think there was another Supreme Court case. I think it was also last year. It was right before the presidential immunity case. I don't know the particulars, but I know they basically essentially said that if you give a public official money or favors after they do something, then that's not considered bribery.
Right.
And I don't know, I really wish I knew more about the ruling, whether it was legal by statute or if they found it legal, like constitutionally legal. Because those are, kind of two different things. Like in theory, the legislature, Congress, could revise some previous definition of bribery to make it illegal even after the fact. That's not necessarily a constitutional question. It could be, like I said, I don't know the particulars, but it just could be. There's honestly a lot that's not in the Constitution, and this is kind of
Well, it's also kind of the point of the Constitution. It's you can't put all these laws into the Constitution, because then what's the point of having laws? What's the point of having Congress? The Constitution is just supposed to be a framework and a set of rules for everybody to play by. These are the ground rules that we have that we can make laws with and we can fight about. These are the rules of the game. The Constitution is supposed to be the ultimate official. This is out of bounds. This is not.
It is and it isn't. I mean, I would kind of disagree a little bit, just because we have an amendment process. I mean, right.
Yeah.
It was expected that it was going to change.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Constitution is the GM's meeting.
The GM's meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the making an amendment and all that. You can change the rules of the game. Like 20 years ago, the NHL, basically took away the red line, so 2-line passes were no longer a big problem. So. They put in the trapezoid. Yeah. So they changed the rules of the game, but the game still stays the same. What's going on now is, I feel the Constitution is being changed without the consent of the other two branches of government.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're saying that the judicial branch can't hold administration officials in contempt, where's the check on the executive branch?
Right.
Where's the accountability against corruption or people committing crimes, abusing power, oppressing people?
Well, and I think this is where I'm sorry I interrupted, but
you're fine.
Cory Booker tried to introduce an amendment, actually, which would have effectively moved the U.S. Marshal Service, which is part of the executive branch, but kind of under the direction of the judiciary.
Okay.
Tried to actually move that whole thing, so it was completely under the judicial branch.
Yeah.
I know Trump has argued that the Judicial Services Administration is actually under the executive branch, and Justice Roberts heads up that agency or something like that. I completely apologize to anybody who knows the exact. I think I'm getting the main thrust of this. But yeah, Trump has argued that the judiciary is actually part of the executive branch, which he has authority over.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of like, this is where we get to, what is the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law?
Right.
Yeah. Are you looking up
I'm looking up something.
Yeah. On your, while you're looking that up, I saw something on some social media recently. Public corruption has been kind of rampant in Russia for a long time, so they have a lot of words for public corruption, and I can't remember. They have like
what's your favorite?
I honestly I don't remember at the moment. This post I had seen was they have a specific word for where corruption becomes so, it's not just like limited to a single person or even a single agency. It's where corruption becomes so rampant that effectively any part of the government can be bought at any time.
Right.
I had not really thought much about how the no taxes on tips can, come into play with, the issues of bribery and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good insight, and definitely one to be more concerned about. But I think we do enter an era where this term, whatever that Russian word is for any part of the government, can be bought at any time,
Yeah. And to the listeners, I kind of just want to take a step back for a second and just do a quick check on everything. Okay. But I'm going to do the check to acknowledge it.
Uh-huh.
And then we're probably going to continue on down the same path.
Okay.
But the Ascendant Project is always looking for commonality. The road we're going down right now is a complete walk away from that, because we are not going to be able to find commonality with people who support this sort of thing. I don't see how we can find the common, but I feel like it has to be a moral stand. And I understand that people on the other side of the issues that I'm about to bring up, that we've already brought up, probably view it as moral issues too. Things like national sovereignty, things like that.
Can I weigh in on that?
Yes, go ahead.
So I think this is going to become one of those issues where you won't find broad disagreement on whether corruption is rampant throughout the government, especially if something like this passes.
Once it passes.
Yeah, I think
when you're in the thick of it, you have to remember Hitler's approval ratings were through the freaking roof.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where people will disagree, and I think this becomes like a distinction without a difference. Where people will disagree is when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I might look at it and say, well, obviously this law makes public corruption blatant and out in the open and the norm.
Right.
Other people might say it's always been that way. It's all, and then, we'll end up arguing over, well, did it start with this or did it start then? And we need to find a way to get past that.
Well, in the end,
we all agree, then we all agree.
There are two themes here.
Yeah.
There's the march towards corruption, which we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the racism that has to be addressed and brought up and talked about in the open. And I know, me saying that's going to make it so much harder to get my dream MAGA person on here. But, to contribute and have a civilized conversation with, it's going to make it hard because I'm not looking to debate this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather get to know the MAGA person and understand how they've come to believe what they believe.
Right.
Not necessarily debate issues. But Trump started off with DEI.
Mm-hmm.
We have Abrego Garcia where he was court ordered not to be deported to El Salvador,
mm-hmm.
and he was deported to El Salvador anyway, and mm-hmm. Trump doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
We have green card holders whose legal status has been revoked, and they didn't find out about it until they were picked up by ICE, and they did not have any time to appeal or have any due process whatsoever.
Right.
So for all the talk about, I'm fine so long as they come here legally.
Yeah.
Where's the outcry? Where's the outcry from all the people saying that?
Right.
There is none.
Right.
This is about racism. When you're against legal immigration and you're against illegal immigration, you are just against immigration, and it's about freaking time you went up to it. So, there's that going on. Yeah, I'm getting a little angry here. This is like the most angry I've been on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
So maybe let's take a step back, Brian, and Hey, did you like that sticker I gave you? Let's talk about Pierre Delecto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The subject of racism, I really wish there was a way we could have a kind of like civilized discussion about it. I mean, it's so nefarious, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't necessarily.
I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, Trump issued an executive order backing away from Brown versus Board of Ed.
Yeah.
Which is, the Supreme Court decision that ended segregation in schools.
Mm-hmm.
He's stepping away from that.
Yeah.
How can you say I'm not a racist, but in front of that? No. It's so bad. You can't even say that.
Sure.
It's... yeah. Yeah, so my now aborted essay is called Dictatorship Warning. And I've totally hijacked your article with mine. And people will probably not see this one, this one late today. This rough draft that's still only sitting at 410 words.
You're close.
Anyway, so going back to your article, you mentioned birthright citizenship and you mentioned anchor babies.
Yep.
One question I would love to ask. Are women who come to this country, are they not allowed to have kids until they're a citizen? Is there a law against that? Has anybody legislated something like that? And why isn't there? Probably because it's immoral.
Yeah.
You're allowed to love who you love, damn it.
Yeah.
And life happens.
Yeah.
You shouldn't you can't go to prison for having a kid, whenever you're in this country.
Yeah.
Legally. Or
well,
illegally.
if I'm playing devil's advocate in a second, right? The question isn't necessarily whether it would be legal or illegal, but whether the child, unless that's really what you're asking. I kind of took it as should the child be a citizen or not?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So you're looking at the child's angle. Yep.
Right. That's really what like birthright citizenship is about. Mm-hmm. Now, let me go back a little bit. I had explained before we went on the air, which we don't normally do. Anybody I think who's listened to the podcast long enough knows, like, you read the article and then you have the discussion kind of live on the air immediately after the interviewer has read it. So I had told Brian ahead of time this would be a challenge to kind of like find the humanity in it, because it's a pretty dry article.
But I'm not really sure it really is.
Well, it's a dry article, not a dry subject, if you take my meaning, right? It's a very like human subject, but the subtext for me is kind of like how I deal with these kinds of issues, the political strife, the political differences. For me, a lot of people would turn off. They just can't deal with it. They just gotta, I'm gonna go do something else. I don't know. I can't pay attention to this.
And so then they stop paying attention to it and they vote for the same guy 4 years later.
Right. Right. Or some people just get outraged, angry, can't see past the issue. For me, I just dig in. I just want to know every detail. I'm just trying to understand why. And why that comes in like many forms for me. Like, why would somebody be against this? Why would somebody be for it? All of those questions. And maybe it's a naive view.
It occurred to me.
Maybe
we should have played tennis before this article. We would have went into the article with an endorphin rush instead of me getting all freaking angry. But I've been so freaking high and happy from moving around and getting that.
Sure.
I probably would have attacked this article, under influence of natural drugs. Natural internal drugs. Yeah. Right. You have the endorphins.
I mean, I'll be honest. It's like the article is almost like a Stoic's view for me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't. And by that, I mean,
it's pretty impassionate. You're talking about, and this is,
Which is not to say that I'm not passionate about a particular side. I very much am.
Yeah.
I think anybody reading it would probably be able to see that.
But your articles are usually pretty head heavy.
But I do try to, like, very intentionally not allow myself to express my outrage.
Yeah.
Like, I am outraged. Like, it is pretty atrocious what is happening, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm somebody who tends to wear my heart on my sleeve, which is kind of why doing a podcast is so courageous of me, because I know I'm going to read the comments and be so freaking hurt because my heart has a glass jaw.
Yeah. But it's also one of the things I love about you, Brian, because you get to express the feelings I don't allow myself to express. Does that,
I'm the Kirk to your Spock.
Yeah. I'd
or
say that's
better
a
yet,
good
I'm Spock's mom, and you're Sarek.
Right. Right. Yep. And
I don't want to be married to you, just so you know.
I mean, so then, who would be our love child?
Yeah, who's Spock?
Yeah, I just don't know.
And Spock is an interesting character because I like the older he got, the more I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him through the movies. I love it when he was on Next Gen talking to Data. During his latter years, he just reminded me of my grandfather. And that became more of the connection I had with him. Like Spock in the movies was like, and the Next Gen, those Next Gen episodes were very more grandfather type thing, my pop-up.
Yeah. Speaking of that and kind of like bringing it around a little bit, as we're talking about like past experiences and how, we got to...
But would Spock be a citizen of the United Federation of Planets?
Well, it was an undiscovered country. Or not I'm sorry, it was undiscovered
That
country.
movie never happened.
What?
It never happened. How did the movie begin and how did it end? Row, row, row your boat gently down. They're camping.
So the whole movie was a
thing
hallucination?
is the dream.
The dream?
Yes. It was a dream during camping.
I do not like
Spock
this.
never had a half brother.
I love that movie.
He never had a half brother.
Do not ruin this.
That's my take on it. It never freaking happened. It doesn't matter. It was a camp. It was a camp dream.
So wait. Okay, wait.
They're in Yosemite and undiscovered country. I'm thinking Star Trek 5.
You're thinking of 5. Yes, I just realized that. You're talking about the half brother. Nope, that was. So was it
redlining?
Sarlacc?
Yeah, I'm redlining.
No, but so he has a very famous quote. At least for me, it was very impactful.
Right.
Spock is speaking to what's her name? I can't remember. And he says, "Do you remember what he says?" He's in his cabin. He's being visited by the other Vulcan woman. I cannot remember her name.
Right.
And he says, "Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end."
Not the end.
And that is something. So I saw that movie probably when I was 18, and I was just about to head into college. And as longtime listeners will know, I majored in mathematics. But that quote is something that like I carried with me. I still carry with me very much. I still consider myself a very rational or logical person, trying to reason through everything. But but I'm also still kind of very mindful of that. That logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. And I think you also said something last week. I think this was off air. That I can't remember who it is that says facts don't care about your feelings. And you said the retort was, but
this is at Braver Angels.
Yeah.
The guy said this at Braver Angels. It wasn't from me.
No. I think it was, no, you said the retort was the
feelings don't care about facts either.
But how I feel about it is a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally did not say that. It was the guy running it.
All right.
But
right. Well, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think that again.
Yeah, I said life experience trumps fact. That was mine.
You did say that, yeah.
Yeah, life experience trumps facts.
Yeah, I think we're kind of like hitting all around this issue.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of beating the bush, beating around the bush.
Right. We're not beating the bush. We're beating around it.
I feel like that's something you go to jail for.
Only in certain countries. Only in 28 states.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, so we were talking Star Trek. Where are you about to go with it before I totally railroaded it?
No, so I think that kind of plays into how I perceive these kinds of issues.
So, not to throw a freaking Bible verse in here, because I hate doing that, but I always do it. John.
Okay.
The Gospel of John starts out, in beginning there was the Word, and the Word became flesh. In the Greek, the word, logos. Logic.
Yeah.
In the beginning, there was a logic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see how things start with logic.
And certainly for some of us, we maybe I'll use the word of evolve beyond that, and I feel like that's just not something I've. That's why I say maybe it's a naive view for me to try and be rational about something that's
going Star Trek,
human.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
Right.
But Star Trek 3 was basically a story about how the needs of the one outweighed the needs of the few or the many.
Right.
And once again, that's emotion. When you get into nuance, you're dealing with people's stories, and and that's why policies need nuance, because you're dealing with people's lives. If you throw an idealistic policy down, there's always going to be cases where you need some exceptions. And I know every manager knows you manage to the rule, not the exception.
Right.
But at the same point in time, every manager knows that a good manager needs to somehow manage in the gray.
Yes. Yeah, very true.
And so that means the manager needs nuance and the ability and the power to make exceptions, whether it's be granting clemency or whatever. I don't see any nuance. I don't see any clemency. I just see straight up idealism coming from the Trump administration when it comes to minorities and immigration. It's pretty heartless. It's all head.
Mm-hmm.
He has a school of thought he's abiding by, and nothing else matters.
Well,
that's how it looks to me from a liberal standpoint.
No, yeah. And I don't disagree. But let me ask you, and I'm asking just as a curious person, quite honestly. It might sound like I'm trying to play devil's advocate maybe, but how would you address the issue of sovereignty? And how do you approach that outside of, without the charged language, we'll say?
Well, the first thing, though, is it's rooted in the charged language. Trump's perspective, as I understand it, is pretty much based on grievance, to say it nicely. To put it how I actually feel it is, we are being screwed over. That is his perspective. It's starting off with hostility. It's starting off with, we are being robbed. F you. This is about us. 100%.
Yeah.
And so starting off from a position of anger, it is not starting off from a position of humanity. Well, and
yeah.
One of the things I had written down, and this is probably a big jump, but it ties into what we were talking about with birthright citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about bribery, talks about corruption. What is the difference between being a citizen and being a subject?
Ooh. What is the difference between being a citizen and a subject? I mean,
because if the government is not accountable,
right,
and we have no way to hold it accountable, are we really citizens at that point? If you're able to take away citizenship from people,
right?
If you're
willing
to take away people's legal statuses, are we subjects or are we citizens?
I think if you
come on, libertarians, answer me.
Right.
Come on, Gadsden flag libertarians, answer me.
Yeah. I think, the the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence make it clear that it's the people above all other, political entities. It's the people that, and for me,
Trump doesn't care. He described the Declaration of Independence as a big, beautiful document of unity.
Sure. But if you're strictly asking me, being a citizen means I am, part of the group of people that, I don't know if I want to say controls the government, but like that exists, above the government as a subject. You're, the government is above you. They rule by, it's ruled by decree.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
I mean, Barack Obama, I think, said something along the lines that the most important position in government is that of the citizen. And because, he's looking to govern.
Right.
He's not looking to rule.
Right.
If people are ruling, you're a subject.
Right.
And I mean, it might be just I admit it might be an own the libs move. But if you go to, Trump's website, not the government one, but it's like his campaign website, yeah, they got 2028 shit out.
Yeah.
They're selling Trump 2028.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, they're like, yeah, he was openly musing, which is what he always does until he can't, about, doing a third term because he didn't do 2 consecutive. So he's looking for another term.
Well, here's my concern.
So if he's throwing out the Constitution and everything on that,
yeah,
are we citizens or are we subjects? Well,
and here's my concern as far as that's concerned. I actually believe him when he say he's not going to run for a third term. But there's, if you start to like think about the actual definitions of the words, right? There's still plenty of room for him to continue in office, to find ways of extending his second term, and make the claim. Even though I looked this up too, whether the Constitution allows anybody, the legislature, the executive, to cancel or postpone an election, right?
Yeah, he made false claims and inspired a crowd to attack the Capitol on January 6th, so he would not have to leave office. This is not past him.
No, absolutely not.
Not past him.
I think it's,
as Roger Stone says, the past is prologue.
Yeah, right. So I certainly think it's possible that he pursues some kind of avenue that way, using some variant of the Alien Enemies Act to make the claim that, we're under attack, we're being invaded by a foreign power. Don't try and name that power, but we're being invaded by it, and therefore we need to cancel the elections until we can guarantee 100%, accuracy.
I think he needs to increase his diet to 4 Five Guys cheeseburgers every day.
4 Five Guys cheeseburgers?
Yes, because they're double patties.
Right.
I'm not calling for anything, but, it'd be nice if, he had some clogged arteries or something and keeled over soon.
I don't think I really, do you believe anytime one of those, the presidential, what is it, the like Surgeon General does
it's propaganda.
Like there's no way any of these people are as healthy as they as they claim.
We saw it with Biden,
right?
And I'll admit it, I was fleeced up until that debate.
Right? Yeah,
I was fleeced up until the debate. A conservative friend from mine for high school sent a video showing how bad off he was, and because he was supposed to go one direction, he went another. He looked kind of lost, at a public event. And I was like, dude, that's me every day. And he replied actually very humanely, no, this was my father. I've seen it. And that still wasn't enough. His personal testimony on a very personal relationship and what he sees in the president. This is sad. This is a pure example of what goes on in society. I'm just as bad. But that was not enough because he was on the other side of the political aisle for me to recognize it. I recognized this concern, but I did not recognize he was right in that.
Right. And this is where I think we come back around to, we're seeing now these amendments to these bills, which seem to permit blatant corruption.
Yeah.
And certainly, if you were sitting there as you are now, and I was on the other side of the aisle, and not just on the other side of the table,
I mean,
I would probably say there's always been corruption.
where was Bob Woodward during the Biden administration?
I don't know, actually.
I mean, is he retired at this point? Because he was like one of the author who like really broke Watergate.
I want to say he retired. He was still active during the Obama administration. I remember that, but I think he might have retired from journalism, but not. I think he wrote a few books. He wrote a few books in the mid-teens. I don't know if he's still.
Let's see here, bookography.
Like employed by somebody else.
Bookography?
Yeah, bookography.
Is that a word?
It is now. I don't know. It wouldn't be. I mean, lithography? No, that's lithography is writing on stone tablets.
All right, so let's find out. Official publisher page. I just want to see a list of Bob Woodward's books. See all 26. He has 26. This last one was War. It wasn't about Biden. I don't think he's written a Biden biography.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he's really.
I thought he had.
I think the last thing he did was
active in
Trump.
The first administration. Yeah.
Because he always was able to pull out,
do some like
deep dives and find some huge, mind blowing revelations about every president. I don't know why. I know Trump ripped him. But he did the same thing to Obama. He did the same thing to Clinton. He did the same thing to W. He did the same thing to 41. Did the same thing to Reagan. What did Trump expect? I mean, this is his shtick, to bring out revelations that were swept under the carpet by administration. Find it.
But let me challenge you a little bit. Right, we keep coming back to Trump, which I agree is but. If you were sitting on the other side of a Trump supporter, did those people necessarily co-sign on every opinion, every decree Trump?
Well, this is the problem. I mean, we don't live in a direct democracy where we vote, where the whole citizenry votes on every law.
Yeah,
we have an indirect democracy. We elect our representatives to fashion those laws.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then we might be lucky enough to get a referendum on something, but I don't remember any referendums on a federal level.
I don't remember.
I only see that on state levels for the most part.
Right.
Or county levels. It's, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. I mean, we elect representatives and so for the most part, and this is one aspect about our Congress people that I don't think they get credit for. They are walking the lines between leadership and servitude. Do you want to serve your district?
I think right now, yeah.
You want to serve your district. You want to represent your district.
Right.
But, how many people of your district actually reach out to you, number one, and with them actually propose a law? No, the citizens would rather yell at lobbyists who are doing that job for them. And I'm not qualified to write a law too. So, I mean, I don't have a law degree. I don't know how to write. I don't know the format. I mean,
no, I know. I agree. And that's why if you, if you go to the end of Birth of Bill, you'll hear my proposal to try and fix that.
Yeah. Which one? Definitely air before this one. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Again, that it may be naive to think that kind of thing could work. Say, even though Trump may be racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean all the supporters of Trump are racist?
Well, you can't really say that.
Okay, explain.
I mean, at best, you can say that they enable racism, that they all enable racism by supporting Trump, because I believe Trump's policies are racist.
Okay.
But every person's a different person.
Yep.
Go with Ted Lasso on that.
Yep.
All people are different people. Just because you might I mean, you might have voted for Trump because you were for, say, you're somebody who makes over $300,000 a year, and you wanted that tax cut.
Right.
Maybe that's the reason why you voted for Trump. Maybe you're for DEI. Maybe you think what happened to Abrigo Garcia is wrong, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Trump's travel ban in his first term. Yeah, that wasn't a precursor to this at all, was it? I mean, you overlook those things because maybe you're just selfish. That doesn't necessarily make you racist.
Right.
You're just looking out for number one, and you wanted that tax cut.
Yep. And I think this is the thing I always, I try to keep in mind as I interact with, people, especially on the opposite side of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
That your vote does not necessarily dictate or determine your personality.
Yeah.
So like going back, that's honestly how I tend to temper my outrage. Like it's definitely much more focused on the people in charge, and I try not to.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you have people like my mom who are never Trumper, but they're very conservative.
Yeah.
Who are they going to vote for?
Right.
If they decide to vote, I mean, although MAGA really is different from traditional conservatism,
so
MAGA
curious.
is still closer to traditional conservatism than liberals are. I think.
Liberalism, yeah.
So so I could see somebody voting for Trump in that. I mean, because of that, they might not agree with, they might hate the man, but they're like, you know what, other things in this platform might be better for, or more in line with, or closer at least to what I believe, as opposed to from the left.
Well, there are
a lot of disenfranchised people here, and I can see a lot of those disenfranchised people, voting either way.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm just going to throw this out here, and we can maybe discuss it in a minute. But but yeah, I mean, I honestly kind of feel that Trumpism is further from conservatism than liberalism is right now today.
Maybe, but we're speaking from that as a liberal.
Yeah, absolutely. But having said all that, and this literally just occurred to me. Like, I've always kind of grown up with the idea.
Is that why there's a smoke stain on the ceiling?
Yeah. Damn it! I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Is my smoke stain showing? No, I've always, every election, I've always considered my civic duty, as they say, to go get out and vote. But is this why people choose to stay home? Because they don't want to endorse? They consider themselves conservatives, but they can't bring themselves to vote for the conservative candidate.
This is another tangent on a tangent.
Yeah.
But
this whole episode is just tangents.
It's a tangent on a tangent. But they're putting out the Laffer curve again.
Yeah, I fucking hate that thing.
They
stupid.
if we cut, they said with this budget that these deficits will be erased through growth, which is what we heard in Reagan. And if anybody opens up a history book or an economics book where they show deficits in a graph, the Laffer curve was complete bull. And so the deficits shot up. We went from the greatest, was it the greatest debtor nation to the greatest nation in debt. We gave away. Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of always been in debt.
Yeah, we always have, but we are never, in terms of, I think, GDP or whatnot, we are in really bad shape right now. And they want to do it again with the same lie.
Well, and I think that's why you see the stock market continuing to decline again.
That's why Moody's degraded us.
And then, yep, exactly.
I mean, should I be buying bonds? I mean, it's
I wouldn't, but
well, that's the only reason why is because the risks on bonds are high enough to where the yields are looking good now. It's looking profitable if you get in them, but it's the risk. They're no longer safe.
This is another thing I've looked a lot into recently. The debt, the budget, GDP, economic output, all of that. Typically, you eliminate the debt. The government is not like you or I. As much as our politicians keep trying to make the claim that the government debt is, like a household debt that you owe to some, no, it's not the same. You and I do not have the ability to print money. We don't have the same economic options.
Today's technology, I have the ability to print money. If I do, I go to jail. Well, there's a difference.
Yes, there's a difference. There is a difference. But historically, the way we got out of debt was through inflation. And if you really think about it, it's not actually that uncommon from how everyday people kind of get themselves out of debt. Your $10,000 loan now. How
does that work though? Because in order to stop inflation, you need to raise interest rates, slow the economy down. And if your interest rates are going up, the interest rates on the debt is also going up. Correct? I guess it depends if it's a fixed or an arm.
No. I think that's what the bond yield is. The bond yield is the interest rate that the government pays on its debt.
Yeah.
It's not the same as like the Fed funds rate,
mm-hmm.
Which I think is what you're thinking of.
Right.
If you're making $100,000 now and you take out a $10,000 loan, that $10,000 loan represents 10% of your income. But if with inflation and as your wages increase, even without changing positions, your wages should be increasing with inflation. Then when you're making $120,000 a year, that $10,000 loan isn't as great a proportion of your income.
I brought this up before, but back in the late 90s, I was a Rush Limbaugh fan. And one of the things that he said that I always took with me, and I still believe in, is that progressive tax rates are about wealth redistribution. And
it's all wealth redistribution. Anyway,
but here's the thing, though. The reason why I accepted it even now is because, in order for something to be true, it works in reverse. That means tax cuts for the rich are about wealth consolidation.
Yep.
And the way it works, if you take away the tax money, then the government has to borrow money. Who are they borrowing the money from? The rich. So it's, in a way, it's sort of a double dip.
There's a reasonable amount of truth to that. Like they
want to take away. I mean, the rich pay, and they will use this as a talking point, but the top 1% actually do pay a large lion's share of the taxes, but they don't do it as a percent. Right. You do it as the amount.
Right. The aggregate. Yeah.
As a percent, they pay squat.
Right.
But by them paying squat on the percent, the government doesn't have enough money, so they have to borrow money through bonds and other ways.
Yeah.
From the rich.
Right.
So
the rich is still more than you or I
winds up making more money off of the government, along with that tax break.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works, and the rich doesn't want to pay for everyone else. Where was that quote? I saw a congressman say, I don't believe that society wants me to pay for somebody else's baby or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mentality. They don't want to pay for anybody else, even though they have such a share of wealth and resources that is burdensome on everybody else because they're hoarders.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what that means.
They are fiscal hoarders.
Yeah. I would agree with you that
this is so way off topic, off the article. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But,
all right. So,
yeah. Bring it back around for us.
Bringing it back around. So we did citizen versus subject. We talked about a little bit of the erosion of separation of powers, correct?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had like a specific aspect you wanted to focus on.
I was going with that item in the budget about courts not being able to hold administration officials in contempt.
Right.
Which they're trying to do with the Abrego Garcia case. They're looking at that.
Yes. And the big push on the right, I think, has been to essentially discredit or essentially do a character attack on Abrego Garcia.
Yeah,
And it
which is what they did after every police shooting. 3 days later, oh, he deserved it.
Right.
Even though the cops don't know his record when they shot him.
But to me,
much less his name.
Sure. Well, I mean, they probably knew Abrego Garcia's record before.
Well, they did. They were looking for him. Most like, well, actually, no. Wasn't he picked up with other people?
I don't recall actually.
I'm gonna have to check.
I think you're right. He was picked up as a result of something else. But
yeah, there's a lot of GBA going on with that too.
But this, this kind of goes to, again, no, Abrego Garcia may not have been the best person, but I don't think that matters. I'm not
here's the thing,
person.
though.
You're not
yeah, exactly.
We all deserve justice.
We all deserve justice because there are no perfect people.
Right.
I mean, if you do a Maryland case search on me, you'll probably find a medical bill that I didn't pay when I was 20 years old.
How dare you?
I know. Seriously. I mean, we all have our scars, it's, and we all have our stories and we all have our mess ups. It's called growing up.
Yeah.
And it's called life. And, so there will never, ever, ever, ever be a perfect poster child for anything because you'll always be discredited because of mistakes you've made or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's bringing up things that happened that people did not know at the time of the incident. That's just disingenuous and cruel.
Right.
You're looking for an excuse. You're not looking for a reason. You're just looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
So you talked about your family history, the presidential immunity and the executive branch. Yeah, we talked about that with the bill. I think I got just about everything. So
I don't know where we are on time, but I do have.
We're an hour. We're good.
I do have a question for you. And again, I'm curious. I just want to just trying to get another perspective. Do you feel like the judge who issued the initial national injunction, do you feel like that's judicial overreach?
I don't think so. I mean, I can see removing national injunctions from the lowest level courts, but I cannot see doing that for the entire judicial branch.
Okay. I mean, in the federal judiciary system, like the district court would be the lowest level.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah. But it would have to be done in such a way to where if the judge is wants to issue a national injunction,
mm-hmm.
the judge should just send that ruling straight to the appeals court above them and have them rule on it.
Okay.
While the first trial is still going on, say just to get that extra higher level thing in there.
Right.
And be able done quickly, like same day, just like how you're a 16-year-old me working at Sears retail. Oh, I got to check. I got to have a supervisor sign off on this.
Right.
Something that quick, something to where the judges are working together to where it can happen on the same day where the lower judge would normally make the ruling. I would like to see it as a joint ruling on that day. But I shouldn't say I would like to see that. I'm actually quite happy with how it is now.
Yeah.
That's my compromise position.
Well, so, I talk about this kind of like middle ground idea that, the district judge can only issue the injunction for their district, but, you could then appeal. And I mean,
because there are cases where, this affects everyone. Yes, this was brought up in my district.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm like saying, I think the judge
could make
I don't think the judge should rule on it. I think the judge should take it himself to get the joint ruling.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But I don't know how well the courts are even set up to do that logistically. I mean, that's a whole world I know nothing about.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we kind of get to, I feel like the judicial branch has been slowly weakened.
It has.
Like, for long before you or I existed, right? I mean, I think
Yeah. I mean, and for all the talk about liberal judges, let's talk about Eileen Cannon sometime. She was the judge in Florida about handling the Trump classified case.
Yeah. Oh man, I this person.
Yeah. Let's talk about that so-called horrible liberal judge who totally had Trump's back and
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate to put you on the spot and like get you on the record for a certain thing, but honestly, this is part of how I digest the news, how I handle. It's like I gotta lean on somebody, so people are witnessing in real time how
Yeah. I mean, it's my comment though is like
cope with these
the
issues.
same it was like when I told my Jamie Raskin story. He talked about my idea had a separation of powers issue to it. I don't know whether or not my idea about the judges would actually work in the judicial world. I mean, there's so much more to that world than I know of.
Right.
So let me come back to the original question.
Yeah.
How does this affect you personally?
So I mean, outside of that, honestly, it's to me, I'm a citizen, and I feel like it's my responsibility to educate myself on these issues, and to try to find. Are you scared? Yeah, I think it's my responsibility to try and find common ground. I think it's my responsibility to try to find some kind of legal retort because, I do feel threatened. I do feel like there's a slippery slope. There is a future potentially where, this could go back further. Like how many generations does your family have to have lived here for you to be a citizen? Like, are we going to get back to 130 seconds? Like, this is honestly a thought I've had. Like, you have to be at least, 32 or what 130 seconds.
130 second native.
You have to be 5 generations in before you can be considered a citizen. Like,
oh, I thought you were going with the blue card with Native American.
No, I mean, I was kind of referencing that, but like, where does this end if we allow it? Like,
right.
So, no, I am worried.
Oh, the one question that I meant to write down that I didn't. We talked about, all the executive orders. We talked about effects, the threats to birthright citizenship, obviously, since that was the focus of your article.
Yeah.
We talked about the threats to the judiciary branch and how it's being weakened. How does all this affect the First Amendment?
Let's see. So, First Amendment, right to free speech, right to religion, and freedom of the press, right? It's 3 clauses. How does this affect that?
Because they're going after the press, too. Yeah. I mean, I think every major news network, minus Fox, has a lawsuit against it and is under investigation by the government.
Yeah.
So, the FCC, yeah.
If they choose to strike down national injunctions and maybe go with the most extreme resolution and say, no more national injunctions. You can only issue an injunction in the particular case for the particular plaintiff or whatever party bringing suit. If they go that route, the courts, we might as well just get rid of them. Like there'll be such a log jam in every district in this country. You won't be able to get any. You won't be able to get anywhere whatsoever. Period. Like across, for anything, in my opinion. And again, hashtag not a lawyer.
Which oddly enough is Trump's point for taking away due process for immigration. It's like we don't have enough judges. We don't have enough lawyers. So this will never work.
Right. Well, who can make more districts?
Who can make more districts? Who can appoint more judges?
Exactly.
Come on.
Right.
This is your responsibility, man.
Yeah.
Own up to it.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
He'd rather play victim because that's his.
Right.
As we discussed.
Yep.
we're getting screwed over. That's his position. He's not looking to do anything about it. He's looking to be angry. It's about angry and vengeance.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, forget about due process. Forget about habeas corpus. Forget about any of that.
Yeah.
It's like which, by the way, I know who was it? Kristi Noem was before a congressional panel, and somebody asked her about habeas corpus. So I'm trying to remember the literal interpretation from the Latin into English, but it basically means bring before the body. It's your right to be brought before a judge if you're charged with a crime. There will be no day in court, no getting before a judge if there's so many, with such a log jam that, like, there's...
Yeah, you have the body. That's what it means.
You have the body. Yeah. They could throw anyone in jail. And yes, I know the distinction between prison and jail. There'll be...
Most people don't.
Most people don't. You could be thrown in jail indefinitely before you ever get a hearing. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, jail's usually the holding and the...
Yeah, right, yes.
That's your drunk tank.
Right. And prison is after you've been
where
found guilty
Keith
of a
Raniere's
crime.
at. Yeah.
All right. Yep. So.
Yep. So, does the wife think habeas corpus when she looks at you? You have the body.
Yeah. I've been married a long time. There was probably one point when she thought that. Maybe not so much anymore.
Obviously, that was the last question. I was like, I had nothing up until you started talking about habeas corpus, and I'm like thinking, I gotta bring this in. This is it. This is it. This is the last question. It's got to be a funny one. And then you talked about habeas corpus, and there it was.
Well, we're about to go hit the tennis court, so maybe there'll be some more of that in the future, but we'll see.
Who knows? Who knows? All right. Well, everyone, yes, definitely not in terms of my emotional state at the beginning of the episode, not a typical episode, but nonetheless, give us feedback. Please come to our websites, comment, like, or email me at editor@theascendantproject.com. Anything you send there for Julius, I'll forward to him as well. Yes. And of course we are on Spotify. We are on Apple iTunes. Please give us feedback. Send us a joke. Tell us we're doing it right. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
Right.
We're always looking to improve. If you have ideas for theme songs, let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Send me a theme song that you wrote that I can use for free, please.
Right. We'll give you credit. We can do that,
yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah. But we'll just not financial credit.
Yeah. Probably a fart song. I don't know. But anyway, so that's about it. Thank you everyone for your time, and you guys have a great night.